Hi everyone. Out of the four prison epistles written by Paul, namely Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, and Philemon, we have come to the third prison epistle, which is Colossians. So we have learned from Ephesians. Ephesians is also called the Queen of Epistles. We have learned from Philippians, which is also called the Letter of Joy or Thanksgiving Letter. And today we're going to learn from Colossians, which is also called a Jesus-centered epistle. So, Colossians is a very powerful epistle where the doctrines and the foundations of our belief are packed into four beautiful chapters. So, as we study along, we'll find that there are a lot of similarities between the letters of Ephesians and Philemon. So, as I mentioned at the beginning of every study, that it's always beneficial to ask the questions as to who wrote the epistle, when was it written, where was it written, and to whom is the epistle or the book or the chapter addressed to, and then what is the purpose behind writing that epistle. So, as we all know, the author of Colossians is Apostle Paul, as it is clearly mentioned in verse 1. And when is Paul writing this? This is written during 60 to 62 AD, during Paul's first imprisonment in Rome, while he was awaiting his hearing from Caesar. Now, to whom is Colossians written? Colossians is addressed to the house church in Colossae, to the saints and faithful brethren which are at Colossae. So this was intended for that church, but it was well circulated in that area. Now, it is interesting to know that Paul never visited this church at Colossae in person, because Colossians 2:1 clearly says, "For I want you to know how great a struggle I have for you and for those at Laodicea and for all who have not seen me face to face." So now the question arises, how did this church form? So we all know that Paul ministered in Ephesus for almost 3 years. So there was a man called Epaphras who was from Colossae, who heard the gospel from Paul while he was in Ephesus. And he got transformed and he went back to his hometown in Colossae, and that's how he planted this church. So both Timothy and Epaphras were very instrumental in forming this church. Philemon was also a member of this church. Now, this is clearly the product of Paul's ministry in Ephesus, a byproduct of Paul's ministry in Ephesus. Now, how did Paul connect with Epaphras? So, Epaphras from Colossae went to visit Paul while Paul was in his home imprisonment in Rome. And there he goes and he confides certain issues that the church has been facing. We see that Paul is in prison, but is constantly addressing issues that's been facing the churches. It could be issues regarding unity of the church, fellowship of the church, or false doctrines that's been infiltrating the church. So Paul is constantly writing letters. He's strengthening the leaders. He's strengthening the believers. He's encouraging the believers. And he's also establishing those church foundations and doctrines. So we see Paul is writing a letter to Ephesians because he heard the issue with unity and all those. He's writing the letter and sending it through somebody. He's writing a Thanksgiving letter to Philippians and he's sending it through somebody. He's writing the letter to Colossians because he heard about the heresy that the church at Colossae is facing. And then he's writing the letter to Philemon to personally ask him, request him to accept his slave, his runaway slave, who's called Onesimus, to accept him as his fellow worker. So we see Paul, even though he's in chains, even though he's in prison, he's constantly, we can see that he's constantly praying for people. He's praying for the churches. He's specifically lifting them up in prayer, and is also encouraging them. And so we see that nothing is stopping Paul from ministering to others. So as a result, because Paul wrote those letters, today we get to read these letters, and it is strengthening churches all around. What do we know about the city of Colossae? We know that Colossae is located about 100 miles east of Ephesus. It was like a 2 to 3 days journey from Ephesus. It was one of the three cities located in the Lycus Valley. That is, those three cities are called Colossae, Hierapolis, and Laodicea. And this formed an important trade route. This was a virtual meeting point between the East and the West. So once upon a time, Colossae was very significant, was very popular. It was well-known city. But at the time Paul wrote this letter, it had kind of lost its significance. or its popularity. Now, what's the purpose of writing Colossians? So, I had mentioned earlier there was a heresy or a set of false doctrines that was going around in Colossae, or that was being preached in Colossian church. So, Epaphras, who was a pastor or the founder of this Colossian church, was so concerned that he made this long trip to Rome, where Paul was during his first imprisonment. And he came all the way just to confide this in him. So Paul is writing this letter in order to guard them against drifting from Christ and to other false teachings. Now, what was this heresy or the false doctrine about? So there were aspects of Jewish legalism that said that circumcision was necessary for salvation, and observation of ceremonial rituals of the Old Testament law was necessary, like, the dietary law or the festivals or Sabbaths. So those things were needed for salvation. And there were also components of asceticism, that means treating oneself harshly to be more closer to God. That means you're denying yourself of all pleasures of life in order to attain higher spiritual superiority. So that means it can even include seclusion or bodily mutilation, or self-inflicting pain, and like suppressing bodily desires and totally neglecting your body. So by doing that, people believe that they get more closer to God. There were also aspects of Gnostic mysticism. That means they believed everything spiritual was good, anything material was evil. So they believe that a good God cannot create evil. So a good God wouldn't have created the material world. And also they believed that they did not believe in the deity of Jesus. They believed that Jesus Christ was merely one of the emanations descending from God, being less than God. So they did not fully believe that Jesus was God, and they believed that something higher was necessary for enlightenment. They also believed in worship of angels. Now, Paul is writing this epistle in order to debunk their theologies and doctrines. So, what is the theme of Colossians? Throughout Colossians, we see that Paul is presenting these all supremacy of Christ. Paul is presenting the all-sufficiency of Christ, and Paul is presenting the uniqueness of Christ. So he's presenting Christ as the fullness of God. He's presenting Christ as the one who is preeminent, and he's presenting Christ as the all-sufficient Savior, because they believed Jesus was not enough for salvation. So the little word, Paul uses that little word all, you can find that in many scriptures. Christ is the firstborn of all creation. In him all things were created. Jesus was before all things, and in him all things hold together. All the fullness of God dwells in him. In him are hidden all treasures of wisdom and knowledge. So the main theme of Colossians is to present Christ as the all-supreme God, as the all-sufficient God, as a unique God, and as a preeminent one in whom the fullness of the Godhead dwelt. Okay, so we can see that Paul is bringing on the fact that Christ is all in all, that he is the firstborn of all creation. He is above all creation. He is the firstborn of the dead. He's the beginning, and he's the head of the church, and he's before all things, and he's the one who holds all things together. So throughout Colossians, we see that Christ is elevated, and it is centered around Jesus Christ.